Alright everybody, welcome to the Tuesday show. That title sequence definitely lied because this is not the Tuesday show. This is an episode of Generation Spacing with myself and Silverware.
Feels good to be back to the real podcast, James. Let me tell you.
Mr. Ultra David, unable to join us today, but it'll just be myself and Tubo holding everything's down. How are you doing, sir?
You know, I'm alive. I'm good. I just had a really good weekend. A friend came out from SoCal, my boy Mike. He's been a guest on the show before. Flex.
I was about to say, people know who Mike is. Mr. DeBonus was here on the show before.
And, we hung out. I hadn't seen him since EVO 2019, I think. So it was real good to see an old friend. So yeah, that was nice. Sure. How about you, James? How you doing?
This was a very, very busy weekend for me. Crazy sleep schedules and everything because I got to actually do the restream of the Red Bull Kumite. So I got to do the beginner restream. And since that started at 6 a.m. and you know what my sleep schedule is like, the first night I did it, I actually stayed up to do it and went to sleep afterwards. And then the next one I actually tried to sleep beforehand, and then streamed for like 9 hours straight doing the restream of the Street Fighter stuff. Oof. And so yeah, it was a fun weekend. Sleep-wise, it was kind of crazy for me.
Well, darn.
Yeah.
Anyways, we got a cool show coming up. What do we got, James?
I mean, we're here. We're going to talk about that Red Bull Kumite London. Obviously, the biggest thing that happened this past week. It's just great to see offline events again. We'll talk about that.
For sure.
Street Fighter V came out with a patch out of nowhere, even right before the Red Bull Kumite, so threw everybody for a surprise. So one thing I want to mention is we did have an interview guest slated for today, but at the last second we had to have a cancellation on that. Nobody's fault really. Life, everyone's busy. So unfortunately we do not have a guest today. So we'll probably be a shorter episode than normal because we will not have the interview segment for today. But outside of that, we're gonna have our own UltraChen 5-5 matchup. One viewer question that we got, sorry for the late message about that, and then just the standard news afterwards. So that's what we got.
Investigation going hop on the show right now, man. We need the third person here. James and I have never done a podcast on our own before.
Yeah, I know, right? This has never happened before.
But you know what has happened before? Europe winning Red Bull Kumite.
Did they win
was
before?
Not different this week. They've run 3 out of 4 of them, I believe.
No, because there's 2 Asian winners, right? There was definitely.
I thought they had won 3 out of 4 Kumites.
I think it's like might not
Luffy
be
won 1, right?
Because Fujimuro definitely won one of them, and I know that what's his face? Was it Nemo? I think who won one of them.
Maybe it was 3 out of 5. I thought it was 3 out of 4.
Right.
Anyways, Mr. Crimson put on quite the show. That was pretty sick.
Yeah.
Did you get a chance to watch the Kumite? Was that what you were restreaming, or were you restreaming CP?
I restreamed the entire thing, so I was able to watch the entire thing, and I mean, obviously, lots of interesting situations going on there. Obviously, starting off with the fact that they decided to do a new format this year with the pools instead. Yeah. And boy, were there a lot of upsets. Boy, were there a lot of upsets. Here, let me...
I really like round robin. I do. I think it's cool and interesting to see all the players in the group play each other and see what happens and determine the best from there. I think it's a really cool way to do it. However, there's matchups that happen that end up not mattering sometimes.
Yeah.
So, that can kind of ruin the viewer and the player experience, to a certain extent. If you're 0-3 and your opponent's 0-3, you're only playing for pride at that point. There's no, these situations, a few of those times happen, and those matches ended up on stream. I'm assuming because they were either big name players or they just didn't have anything else to stream at that time.
No, they played everything. They played like every single match for
Did they
this
put
week.
everything on stream?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
I
why
guess
it
that
was
makes more sense.
that's why it was 10 hours long. So
Sure, yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, I didn't watch the entire thing. I mean, I was tuning in and out, so
Right.
that makes sense why my view on that is a little blurry.
oh god, was that last week that they announced? Well, we didn't get a chance to talk about Sam's show last week, or did that happen during the course of last week? That was
What?
that
Sam
it's
show getting
being on
announced
Steam.
I'm pretty sure I made fun of that, yeah.
Okay.
I'm like 90% I made fun of them for releasing a full game on Steam without DLC the same week as Guilty Gear.
Yeah.
Because how out of touch do you have to be to do that? But whatever. Congrats to the 5 people who buy and enjoy Sam's show on Steam when the rest of us are all playing Guilty Gear.
Yeah, pretty much. Talk about bad I mean, anyways, we'll get there later on then.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
If we want to. But obviously, one of the cool things that they did for, speaking of Guilty Gear, is that Red Bull Kumite also had the exhibition matches for Guilty Gear on the first day, as well as picking the pools out and doing the team tournaments. But did you get a chance to watch the Guilty Gear exhibitions?
I didn't. Like I said, I was busy with my buddy.
Oh
being
yeah,
out
of
here.
course. That's right.
So my Friday night was taken up. The majority of my Saturday was taken up. So I didn't get to see as much as I wanted to, but I did watch a lot more Kumite than I expected to.
Okay.
But I didn't get to see the exhibition matches yet.
Those exhibition matches were sick. They were
they?
Pretty crazy. Yeah. I mean, like, you would think, oh, okay, these are players they probably haven't. I mean, for one, we're all not actually sure what copy of the game they were playing on, because they might have just had the full thing. But these weren't local. These were actually done online. So the Guilty Gear exhibition players didn't show up to the event. They didn't fly to the event. They actually just played online. And keep in mind, one of those matches was Goichi versus Sonic Fox. So this is like Midwest versus Japan. And it was, I think, 3-frame lag at the most, like the entire time. And they definitely didn't look like they were having very many problems, because Goichi was pulling some crazy stuff. The matches were definitely live. But is he? I don't remember if Sonic Fox is Midwest or New York. I can't remember.
He's up in. Sorry, they are up in the Northeast. I want to say like Maryland or something like that. Like it's not New York.
Right. Yeah, but I mean those matches were absolutely, because like the first match was Ogawa versus Samito. And Samito Chip, of course, one of the best Chip players, Ogawa, one of the best Zato players. And, you know, a lot of people were worried that Chip wasn't going to be as good, that, like, oh, he's not Chip anymore. Then you watch Samito play, and like, there were rounds where it didn't even look like Ogawa could move. Like, it was brutal, dude. It was really, really crazy. And FAB and Nage at the very end was really good. Dude, even Leffen and La Soul was super good, because Leffen was doing the mixes with Milia. So again,
was Leffen out in Sweden?
I think they were all playing from home again.
So Leffen's in Sweden and La Soul's in New York.
Yeah, and they were
Sonic Fox is in the Northeast. Koichi's in Japan.
Yeah,
Arxis is just flexing. That wasn't an exhibition for the game. That was an exhibition for the netcode. They want everyone to know. It doesn't matter where you are on Earth, you can probably play someone. And that's wild.
And again, that match was crazy because, like I said, Leffen was doing the mix. And a lot of people are like, oh, well, you know, Milia's not going to be able to play the same way. No, dude, when you watch Leffen play, I mean, Leffen is just super talented overall. But, man, my God, like, his Milia looked terrifying. And, but the crazy thing is, La Soul was playing Anji, who everybody said sucked and couldn't do Anji things, and he was getting mixed at first, but then he started making the comeback. I won't spoil who won for you, just so you can watch it.
Yeah, I'll definitely go back and watch it, because I haven't seen him.
Yeah, the matches were really, really good, and I really enjoyed it. And you're right, a lot, and they also had a lot of cool segments too, where they had Theory Fighter who makes a lot of content over in the EU, there to explain a lot of the systems. So they were also doing their own kind of beginner stream, like actually
Sick.
there, teaching Tyrant how to play, teaching, Damascus how to play and stuff like that.
Cool.
So it's really cool. The game looks really cool. Everybody who's worried about it not looking complicated and being too simple, just go watch this exhibition, dude. And people in my chat were like, this looks like Guilty Gear to me, for people who don't play it. And some of them were like, I have no idea what's going on.
I've kind of given up on trying to convince people that don't think the game will have any depth that it does.
Right.
Because they've already made up their mind, and B, I know that they're going to be wrong.
Dude,
so I just kind of given up on trying to convince those people that are like, oh, there's not enough. Like, okay, fine. If there's not enough depth for you, then I'll see you in 3 years when you think the game looks good.
Dude, Theory Fighter even showed a bunch of stuff that I didn't even know about, like the blue RC. Some of the stuff that he was, the one that you use in neutral, right? So he showed that you can actually hit the opponent with the blue RC, hit him with the non-charged up dust, but since they're slowed down, so is their hit stun. So they would actually hit him with the non-charged up dust as an overhead and then combo off of that as a link.
That's cool.
Like, that was super sick. I was like, what? And so some players were actually doing things. Like, there was the Eno. He would actually do jump attack, cancel into air dash, Roman cancel. So because he cancels into the air dash, it would come out as the blue one. And so he would get him stuck. And then he went for a fuzzy guard mix up off of that. Oh, God. It was just like they were doing some crazy things. And I'm not worried about the game. It's great. I won't spoil it anymore. You need to watch it. And for those of you who haven't watched it, honestly, one other thing too is that the beginner matches that I streamed will be coming up on YouTube during the course of the week. So you can wait for those as well if you'd like. But then, of course, there was the Street Fighter stuff, which is also absolutely insane. But again, the pools that they pulled for, it's kind of unfortunate pools that they ended up with, but that's how picking your pools work out. For example, Group B was Luffy, Takamura, Problem X, and Jones. It was all EU, so that was really unfortunate. These guys play each other all the time.
Correct.
And then in group, I think it was, C, Punk, Phenom, and Smug were in the same pool. They're all like great friends, and Punk and Smug live with each other right now. So it's like...
Correct.
Yeah, exactly. But it turned out that Pool A was Bonchan, Hurricane, Tokido, and Vega Patch.
Oh. Weird, but all right. Was that like a subscription thing from Dave? Oh, David didn't switch the reaction pack because he's not here today. Or are we getting Mortal Kombat stuff?
Yeah, I think we're gonna get Mortal Kombat stuff and David's sub messages and stuff. So there you go.
Well, you gotta if you're gonna do the farts, you gotta do the right one.
Well, you can't do those. That's dependent on a separate program. So,
but for a very special UltraChen with farts.
But that one's a crazy pool right there. Now, if I said Bonchan, Hurricane, Tokido, and Vega Patch, who would you think is making it out of that pool?
Well, I mean, I know who did, but obviously I would think it would be at least Tokido, right?
Right.
At least Tokido, probably Bonchan.
Yeah, and it was Bonchan and Hurricane. And Hurricane, obviously, one of the strongest players in Europe, has been winning everything even before this patch. I know everyone thinks Cammy is super strong now, but he was doing that even before the recent patch that nerfed the other top tiers. So Bonchan and Hurricane made it out of there. Luffy and Takamura made it out of theirs, which means Problem X and Jones did not. And then Punk and Phenom made it out. So Kawano and Smug didn't make it out of their pool. And then Idom and Mr. Crimson made it out of their pool, which meant Gotcha-kun and Bolt Strike did not make it out of their pools. I mean, that's a...
Yeah, I mean, no matter what group you're playing in, it's going to be a tough competition. Yeah. You know, it's Rebel Kumite. Everybody there is a top player.
Yep.
In some respect, so... I mean, honestly, I don't think there's any pool or any group, whatever you want to call it, that much stronger than the next one. No matter which one you're in, you're running into top level competition. So,
and that's kind of one of the things that Logan tweeted about. He was like, "It's crazy. Street Fighter V's in a position where there's like 20 players at any point in time can beat anyone," and I was like, "I don't think that's generous enough."
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
there's
I agree.
40 players maybe at this point in time. It's crazy, dude. It's Street Fighter V's in a position that it's in a really interesting position that like anyone can win on any given day. So it's not like you watch it and expect to see the same 4 people over and over and over again, you know. And you know, given the fact that Bonchan and Idom finished 3rd and 2nd respectively, but first place, and it was single elimination when they went to top 8, but first place was Mr. Crimson and Dalsum.
Is Dalsum too strong? The answer is no, but he's pretty damn good. Pretty damn good.
I'm almost willing to put Dalsum in top 10, and I know that might be a little controversial.
No way.
I know.
I think he's like top 5. I think he's very good. Very, very good.
Well, you think he might be top...
I think top 10 is too loose. I think he's a top 5 character.
Oh, you actually think he's top 5? Okay.
I think he's top 5.
I thought you were calling me out on overrating Dalsum. Okay.
No, I don't think so. No, I think he's extremely strong.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. Someone in the chat just mentioned Arturo, but even Arturo at this point was like, yeah, even before the most recent buffs, I started seeing how good Dalsum was. And, you know, I've kind of changed my tune about that. So, but, you know,
he admitted he was wrong.
Yeah, and that's one of the cool things about that. You know, obviously, a lot of times you can't argue. And not only that, but Arturo is literally winning like 1 billion tournaments himself that he's been entering. So
yeah, didn't he win like 4 NLBCs in a row or something like that?
It wasn't like necessarily the NLBCs, but it was like all those like online locals and like other like smaller things that he's been running and just like running in there. So. Yeah.
Yeah, Art's paying the rent with Street Fighter. It's like 2009 again.
Seriously, and it's awesome. I mean, I'm glad to see Dalsum players doing well and everything, and especially because they were so worried about the character's untimely death. But you know, here we go. This is
Look, man, if you guys ever need proof that you shouldn't always listen to top players' opinions on characters, this is a perfect example, because I saw maybe one strong Dalsum actually saying that they thought Dalsum was going to be fine. Right. Every other Dalsum was like, this is it, rest in pepperonis, he's done for, you know. So just let this be a moment where it sinks in. They go, maybe they don't always know the best.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that they said in the patch notes was they nerfed Dalsum because they thought V-Shift was going to be too good for him. And all of the top players, Dalsum players, are like, V-Shift's not going to be that. And now they're like, yeah, V-Shift is pretty damn good for Dalsum. Gets away from a lot of situations that he hasn't been able to. But, I mean, on top of that, I don't want to sit here and praise Dalsum all day as a way to discredit Mr. Crimson, because obviously Mr. Crimson played out of his mind and he's just super talented, and I was really happy to see him do well with that character. And again, you know, we're talking about Dalsum being strong, but that really kind of obfuscates the fact that I felt like Mr. Crimson played so good. And
he did. Absolutely he did. And I mean, what I really liked about watching him play was how passionate he was. Mm-hmm. Every win he was popping off. Every, and then, you know, the crowd started cheering when it was final game, final round, and he just looked to the crowd and he's like, let's go, like, I want to hear it. And it, you know, it's just it's really cool to see that, because honestly I don't see that a lot out of like modern Street Fighter V players now. Like all the newer guys that came in, they don't pop off like a lot of older guys. And maybe Mr. Crimson is a veteran, but I don't know of him as like a veteran. I know of him as a Street Fighter V player, so it was just really cool to see that emotion coming out of him.
Yeah, and it's funny too, because someone said like, man, if he wins this tournament, get ready for the crazy pop off. And I was sitting there watching, I was like, no way. 0%. I was like, if he wins, he's gonna cry. Like, there's gonna be emotion. And as soon as he won, he was just like beside himself. Like, there was no pop off. He was like, oh, he was so emotional. If it wasn't for the fact that Damascus and Kayane and everybody all just completely mobbed him afterwards, you know, he probably would have cried, dude.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool to see. Like I said, I like emotion out of players. It's weird when somebody wins a major or an invitational like that and they don't have any reaction. Right. That's way more odd to me than someone having big reaction, big emotion.
Did you get the chance to watch like the post interviews and stuff like that? Because no,
I turned it off after he won. I forgot we were doing something else.
Kayane was pulling a James Chen. She broke into tears about how happy she was, for Mr. Crimson. Obviously, she's French, he's French, so she was really happy for her country mate. But
can I call out F word real quick? I need to call out F word.
Hang on. Before you do that, I have to call out Kayane. Get your own shtick, Kayane. That's my thing. No, I'm just kidding. No, I joke that like Kayane and I have to do a commentary together so that after it's over we can just both cry, kind of situation. Whoa, yeah, we have the crazy.
Thanks for the follow, Guilty Gus.
I don't know how David switches.
I don't know what he does either, and I definitely don't have his password to change it. So.
Yeah.
Either way, we'll get it fixed for next week. But anyways, I want to call out F word. All right.
Okay, go for it.
F word kept referring to the French players as Frenchies, and I couldn't stop laughing every time because I could just imagine like Logan in the back, like yeah, get the Frenchies, and he just keeps calling the French people Frenchies. Like it was the most like UK London thing I've ever heard. I was dying every time he said Frenchie. I was like, I don't think they want to be called that F word. Like I'm not French, I don't know, but I have a feeling like I don't want someone to call me Whitey. Like it's kind of derogatory, man. I don't know. I don't know how it works in London, but yeah, I thought that was mad funny.
I also told F word and Logan that the reason why IDOM didn't win is that they weren't commentating it together, because every time
they're
US's lucky charm, man.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, there you go. And so Mr. Crimson takes it. And as I had mentioned, Bonchan in third place, Luffy in fourth. So it's crazy because, Z was being the, obviously biased towards the Asian players, but there was only one player in the top 8 representing from Asia, and that was Bonchan. But other than that, I mean, there were 2 Americans in IDOM and Punk, but everybody else was from the EU, so EU is just being amazing. And I do agree with what Trini says in the chat, by the way. F-Word was fantastic as a host.
He really was.
I really liked him. As host, sorry. Ooh, I just ate, so I'm like...
Real professional, James.
Sagat is really strong now, Smelly Beetle. Sagat is actually really strong now. You can't actually downplay Sagat anymore. They've improved him a lot now, so he's definitely...
You gotta remember, also, they're playing offline.
Yeah.
It's a bit different playing offline.
How great was it to have an offline event like that again? Man.
It was cool. It was definitely cool. It makes me want to start going to my locals that are starting again at the end of the month, or at the end of this month, but I'm not ready. After seeing that though, like, I really want to go beat up Dragon Ball FighterZ players in here. Like, I really want to, like, the majority of my scene that plays Dragon Ball FighterZ still started with Dragon Ball FighterZ. Like, that's their first fighting game. Right. And now Strive is coming out and they're getting into Strive. Yeah. So they're like, hey, come out and play. And I'm like, I'm vaccinated and all of you probably are too, but it still feels a little weird for me.
Right.
I ate in a restaurant for the first time since January 2020 this past weekend, and that felt weird. So yeah, I don't know, man. But just a really long-winded way of me saying, seeing an offline event really, really, really made me miss playing games offline again.
Do you know what the weirdest thing was? So there's a donut shop near me that's 24 hours that I go to every once in a while, even during the lockdown. You know, I still social distance and all that stuff like that. But just every once in a while, I just really need a donut. And I was in there, and there was one person in there who just did not social distance. Like, he just was obviously not. He was wearing a mask, and he would actually, like, weirdly be kind of apologetic at times, but he was standing really close to me and my roommate sometimes, and I gotta tell you, that felt weird. Like, it feels weird standing near somebody that you don't know now.
It does, dude. It was very strange being in a building with a mask off. Even though I was eating, like, it just, yeah, it was odd. It felt very weird. It still feels weird to me. Like, I don't. Yeah, it's gonna take a lot of getting used to again. So, as much as I want to go back to locals, I don't think I'll be ready for a few more months.
I mean, one of the nice things, obviously, is that they did bubble everybody. They tested everybody. Everybody came back with negative results. They didn't let anybody really out of the hotel room and stuff like that. So they did their due diligence there. So hopefully everybody will be okay, knock on wood, you know, kind of thing. Because you never know what's going to happen. But, you know, for those people wondering about that, they definitely did their due diligence. And sure enough, they were all just talking about how great it felt to play offline, and like some of the players there, like Bolt Strike, like Vega Patch, who are obviously very strong players, but you know, not quite to the caliber of someone like Idom or you know, or Bonchen and Tokido and stuff. You know, they even were saying during the course of that week, they were like in a hyperbolic time chamber, and they felt like they grew so much as players just by playing with other guys offline for so long. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well,
but the other thing that was announced about Red Bull Kumite, and this is really interesting, is that they announced that the Red Bull Kumite London is not the only Red Bull Kumite of 2021.
Yeah, it looked like they're bringing one to America.
That's right, and it sounds like we are going to have a Red Bull Kumite US for the first time, which I think is going to be awesome and exciting. Can't wait to hear more about it. I am vaccinated now, so you know, I don't have to do a beginner restream of the event. You know, I'm just saying.
And I happen to love Street Fighter 5. It's my favorite game.
See, we don't have David here now. We don't have David here to goad you on about that.
Right? I love that game.
But Red you Bull love Street Fighter 5, right?
You know, a real talk I actually do love. Guilty Gear Strive.
Yeah.
If they ran an exhibition for this one, that means it might be there for real next time.
Yeah.
And if you need a host commentator, I'm your guy. Red Bull, I'm your guy. Red Bull, you paid me before, pay me again, baby.
I'm there right with you too, Mo. But I mean, honestly, you know, I'm looking at people in the chat here. I mean, I genuinely do really enjoy Street Fighter 5 now. I mean, you know that. I think it's in a great state. But I don't
hate it. It exists.
Yeah. You love the game. You love the game.
I love Strive. If Red Bull wants to hire me, that's what they should hire me for. Not
well,
Street Fighter.
I mean, why wouldn't they hire someone who loves both, right? I'm just saying, why not both? ¿Por qué no los
dos? Dude, you already know you can't pretend to love a game and commentate it.
Yeah, no, it's true. It true.
Sucks.
It's true. I mean, I always tell the story of when I commentated Street Fighter Cross Tekken, and someone made that, you know, highlight video years later, and I could hear my own commentary, and I could hear in my commentary how much disdain I had for that game. And I was like, man, if I was a fan of Street Fighter Cross Tekken, I would hate me so goddamn much, because you could tell I was backhanding, complimenting that game all over the place. So I will never do that again.
That would be.
Yeah. But I mean,
but yeah, that'll be cool to see a Kumite in America. They've done stuff in Minneapolis before. It'll be so sick if they did it in my hometown. But I would expect to be like Vegas, SoCal, New York, something like
Burbank,
that.
yeah, something like that. Burbank.
Atlanta, maybe.
Hey, look, I mean, if you do it in Southern California, you won't even have to pay for my hotel, right? So you. Anyways, let's move on to the next topic here. One of the funny things that happened for Red Bull Kumite was that Capcom released a new patch for Street Fighter V.
Sure did. Sure did.
Out of nowhere. I don't think anybody was expecting that at all.
I think we were expecting small balance patches with each character release, and then the big final patch that they talked about, and that was about it. But, and this was actually a big balance change. Like, this was significant.
Yeah, they literally released it while we were doing the Tuesday show last week, remember? Because I was just like getting so distracted looking at all the Lucia changes.
I remember.
I was just yeah, David. They did what? You know?
And then the Kumite players had to play on that patch.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it affected results very much. It didn't seem like it did. But it just, it was a very surprising release from Capcom. We didn't know anything about it, and then all of a sudden, so
yeah, and it's a pretty significant patch, and they said one of their goals in there was to try their best to really balance out the V skills and the V triggers, and I really like that goal. I'm really glad they're trying to do that a little bit more. It's going to be hard for a lot of the characters because one is just so good over the other, but I admire that effort because that was, like, I always told myself if I was going to rebalance, like do an HDR, third strike or whatever, like I wouldn't actually change much of the game, but I would try to change the supers and buff the ones that aren't used, you know, to try to make it a little more, you know, tempting to use some of the other ones. But not only that, but yeah, someone just mentioned it in the chat. They patched out Dan's Infinite.
Upon reading that change, I was like, oh, that's lame. But the way they did it is so canonically Dan.
Yeah.
It's so cool that I can't even be mad that they took it out.
Yep.
Like there's so many other ways they could have taken that Infinite out and made it not fun or not interesting, but they chose to put in the extra effort that 1 out of every 8 fireballs is a red fireball that puts a character in a floating state, which gives Dan a follow-up afterwards, so it's kind of a nerf and a buff.
And it's
weird.
It has better frame data. It's more plus on block. Yeah. And honestly, for anyone who grew up playing the original Street Fighter 2, you know, reuse red fireball glitch. There's just every once in a while you would throw a red fireball. According to the developers, it's not a glitch, that they just put it in there for fun. I don't know what the actual story is, but yeah, sure enough, in the original, every once in a while you threw a fireball, it would come out as red. The fact that this is basically a reference to that in the way to get rid of the Infinite, I think is freaking genius.
and I mean, like, even when Dan throws out the red Gadoken, he's like, his after animation that they added is, he's like, what the, like, he doesn't know how he did that. It's such a Dan thing.
Oh, dang.
It's so cool.
I didn't even know. I didn't even see that animation before.
If you get that and you let the animation play out without interrupting it, like the little bonus after animation, he's like, what the? He doesn't know what he did. So, like, they did a really, really good job with that. I think it's probably the best way I've ever seen an Infinite get patched out of a game. It definitely is. Not even probably. It definitely is.
That's awesome, dude. I didn't even know they went that extra distance, dude. That's so cool. And,
that's cool.
Yeah, and then, you know, they obviously tried to buff a lot of the other characters. Nash got buffed. Ken got buffed. 2 characters that have been famously, you know, been considered more bottom tier for the longest of time. They made Nash's Sobat kick so much better that apparently after the patch in the first 4 days, MOV used the move over 10,000 times according to the stat, I guess, that you can track on CFN, which I didn't even know was a thing. But apparently he used the move like 10,000 times in the first 4 days that it got buffed.
I mean, Button's kind of ridiculous now, so
Yeah.
I don't blame him. He should have hit it 20,000 times. The Button is great.
I even saw that Ricky said that she might become a Nash player now just because that's such a Ricky Button. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, Geef got nerfed. I'm sad about that one. I'm not happy about that nerf.
Geef got what he deserved.
You
wake up, you choose to be a grappler, you get whatever you deserve.
Are we doing this again here?
Abigail got what he deserved. You wake up, you choose to be a grappler, you get what you deserve.
Are we doing this again, man?
Grapplers suck, man.
Dude, you watch some of those matches, like these Potemkin matches in the exhibition, and then also in the we'll talk about the 25v25 later on. But dude, you just watch poor Potemkin getting zoned out by everything, and it's just like, this is grappler life, man. Poor they suffer. Grapplers is suffering.
This guy. Not even grapplers are definitely not. Yeah, I mean they're suffering, but not for them. It's for anyone that they play against.
Dude.
That's the suffrage.
Grapplers have always been a masochistic character to play, dude. Playing grapplers sucks, dude. I'm telling you.
I think it used to be that way. I don't think it's that way in fighting games anymore. I think fighting game developers have done a much better job at making grapplers not feel like this unwinnable uphill battle. Battle. I think that a lot, like Abigail for 2.5 seasons, for example. Geef up until last Tuesday. Like, a lot of grappler characters are good now. I mean, Iron Tiger in BB Tag is one of the best characters in the game.
I mean, like
Hager in Marvel 3 has been the most top 8 character in EVO history.
Abigail is barely a grappler anyway, dude. He doesn't even count as a grappler. Come on.
He's definitely a grappler. He has multiple command grabs.
Yeah, but he barely uses them. Those aren't his main tools, right? So
that's not my fault. He got what he deserved.
Jesus. Yeah, he got nerfed pretty bad in the patch as well. So
He did. I think he got it worse than Geef.
Yeah, I mean, that actually hurt Problem X, because he played a lot of Alex at Red Bull Kumite, so there was that. He was one person who was affected. He ended up playing a lot of Alex as a result, because he didn't feel like he could use Abigail as much anymore. So there you go. So he did definitely get affected by the patch right beforehand. So, and yeah, I have a cat here again. Oh.
Miles has been walking around, but I haven't had a chance to pick him up. I'm sure I'll come by again. But yeah, I thought the way they nerfed, quote unquote, the Dan Infinite was really cool.
Yeah.
I like Ken. I mean, that's like my default Street Fighter character. Everybody thinks I'm a Blanca player, but by default, every Street Fighter, if Ken is in it, that's who I pick first. So I like seeing Ken be played. I'm happy that he's buffed. Chris G was tweeting out about how he's going to be a Ken main now. Yeah. We'll see how that goes.
I mean, there was one kind of slight nerf to Ken by accident because of the buff, but basically because the first hit of the uppercut reaches farther now. If someone like Ryu throws a fireball, before, if you ever heavy uppercut through the fireball, the first hit was small enough that if it didn't hit, you would sideswipe him and knock him down. But if the first hit ever hit, it was close enough that when you hit the arms and they reeled back, the rest of the hits would still hit. But now there's a range where you'll hit them with the uppercut because it reaches further, pushes them away, and then your uppercut just whiffs and you die, which is kind of unfortunate. But I don't know if they're going to fix that or not. G got buffed again.
He did get buffed, yeah. He can use like level 2 and 3 abilities now, is that right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Cool. Good for him.
So he could. They keep trying to make sure level 3 presidentiality is good, so they keep buffing it.
Well, I mean, wasn't that like part of the problem before though? Is a lot of players just preferred the level 2 buffs?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they didn't go to level 3.
Yep.
So now if you can go to level 3 and you have the level 2 option there, why wouldn't you? Right?
Yeah, exactly. So. But no, I mean, I felt like they did a really good job with this patch. I mean, again, one of the greatest things to see was that some characters literally got no changes. you know. So it's just like, it's nice to see that they're not just tweaking things just to tweak things. And even you know, somebody else was like, who doesn't even like Street Fighter, was like, you know what, I couldn't believe, it was hard for me to believe that maybe one person could hold back the battle designers of the game, you know, as much as it was. But maybe I have to start believing now, because the way that it's turning out at this point in time.
I mean, if you look at like season 1, 2, and 3, you're kind of just like, oh no, what's going on?
Right.
And then now all of a sudden, it's like, oh yeah, this is great. So those oh no years, you just don't want to think about those. You want to move on to the oh yeah years.
Exactly.
That's where we are now.
Exactly. Oh man. But yeah, no, the game is I think is in a good position at this point in time. Again, I think it's really, really nicely done. I like what they did with the patch, but really don't have much else to add about that. Do you?
Yeah, let's move on, man. Let's keep it moving.
All right. Like we said to everybody before, we apologize ahead of time. We normally have an interview every week, of course. This week we do not have a guest because they couldn't make it at the last second. Oh yeah, Lucia also got buffed pretty decently too. She got some very significant changes. And I am having cats all over my table over here right now. What is going on here?
They're behind me, so.
But yeah, no, my character definitely got buffed. So, and Ultra David couldn't make it here today. He's not going to be here today. He's not going to be here next week either. But we're holding it down for while he's out. So for two different reasons
David,
too that David can't make the shows.
In prison, yeah, 2 different crime accounts. He's in prison right now.
Yeah,
that guy was out there breaking the law once again, and now he's going to be stuck in prison for 2 weeks.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, no, he's. I think he's like what, moving next week. So.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna run a tournament soon to raise the bail money for Ultra David. Yeah. You know, it's the GoFundMe to bail Ultra David out of jail.
Speaking of, James, we got a topic down here.
Oh, okay.
That has come up in the Street Fighter V community due to a Twitter beef, I believe, between 2 players that started off, I believe, again, I could be wrong on this, the details are fuzzy to me now because I've been trying to track this through random Twitter threads. But I believe they agreed to pay for $500. One of the players didn't have the money. They wanted to change it to $50. And now they're talking about crowdfunding the rest of the money for the money match. James, what do you think about this? Because, man, do I have some thoughts.
I didn't know what this was about, and then you started explaining it to me, and my first reaction in my head was, oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. No way. No way are you going to crowdfund a money match, because the whole point of a money match is you put up or you shut up. And
so, here's the thing, though. From what I understand, one of the 2 parties that are trying to play, that have the Twitter beef on Street Fighter V, has done this before. This isn't new. Like, this is something that they've done before, where they put up like $100 or whatever, and then crowdfunded the rest of the pot. So apparently, like, Street Fighter V players are just about this. I don't know, man. This is really weird to me.
No. No.
I wish I had all the details. Like I said, I've been trying to like gather it together through random shit talk Twitter threads and piece the story together. I don't even want to put the 2 players on blast. Like, if you guys really want to go find it, you can go find it in the Twitterverse.
Right.
I just couldn't believe that crowdfunding a money match was even something that popped into someone's head.
Look,
like, medical bills, I get. Hardships, I get. Trying to start a new product, I get. Trying to start a company, an LLC, I get. Money matches? No, what the fuck? What is wrong with you? That is like not what GoFundMe should be for at all. What are you doing?
Yeah, look, the whole point of it is this. You're willing to bet a lot of money because you're pretty sure you're not going to lose. Right? That's the whole thing, right? So when you're like, I'll bet you $5,000 because that's a free $5,000 for me. Thank you. Right? If you're putting up money, like if you are that confident that you're going to win, that you are going to do a money match, what do you even need to crowdfund it for? You're not going to lose.
Right. You're not supposed to. Yeah, you're supposed to be putting something on the line that matters. Like that's the point. I don't know. Yeah, I saw this on Twitter. We had a pretty low amount of topics to go over. I just thought we'd bring it up and both agree that it's one of the stupidest fucking things we've ever heard because.
Yeah,
yikes.
So Prosody J asks, how did the OG money matches with Marvel 2 work with like 26K and stuff? So that was like when Duck and Sanford played against each other, it wasn't a money match necessarily between the players directly. They had a certain amount of money put up, but the rest of the money was literally handled by, I think it was Hamad and Watson. Were like
that sounds about right.
Yeah, right.
That sounds about right, especially Hamad.
They basically were the bookies for that, and so they just made sure that everybody who put in their money, they pulled in that money, and then the players who won their bet on the other side ended up getting their money, basically. So that's kind of how it worked. But
so it's not like Duck and Sanford were playing for 26K.
Right, exactly. So, though there have been some money matches that have gone into some crazy realms, but, that is because, that is where that confidence comes from. And so, I know there's like this weird thing, like people don't want to talk about money matches or like, because it's betting or whatever like that, but it's such a integral part of FGC history that I don't have any problem with money matches, and I kind of miss them sometimes. I honestly do. I miss the Marvel money matches because they were hype, dude.
They'll come back with Tribe. They'll come back with offline play. Nobody wants a money match online.
Yeah,
even if the netcode is fantastic, I still don't want a money match. Like I'll play in the tournament, but I don't want a money match. Like, that's more personal. There's more pride on the line. And I don't want an internet connection getting in the way of that.
Yep. Agreed. But yeah.
Okay. Anyways, we can move on. I don't have anything else to add. I just thought it was something dumb to talk about.
I agree. So let's move on. So obviously we also have the viewer questions, usually have the poll and everything like that. Again, David wasn't around. He's usually one that handles the poll questions. I completely forgot to take care of that, so
better next week.
We put out a quick tweet. We got one response to it, so we'll answer that question right here. You get an automatic answer. What are the pros and cons of having a more accessible fighting game? And in fact, there was a little bit more to the question here. Let me get you the rest of this question over here. Let me see if I can get this whole question for you guys over here. So, what are the pros and cons of having a more accessible fighting game? And what kind of game do you prefer? Easy access or more difficulty?
Well, I mean, I think it depends on what you mean by more accessible.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a hard way to describe what I'm thinking what they mean, which is just easier, right? Accessible and easy aren't the same thing.
Right.
But what I think the question is asking is games like Guilty Gear Strive or Grand Blue or even Dragon Ball FighterZ, things like that, where it's more appealing to new players is what they're asking. And I think we've seen the cons of it through the past few years, again, through Dragon Ball and Grand Blue and now Guilty Gear Strive. The con is that people look at it from a distance and go, that game has no depth. I don't want to play it. It has no depth. It's not like such and such game. It's not deep. And the pro side of it is literally everything else. They get more players, more people are interested in trying the game. And at the end of the day, it turns out those games aren't so shallow.
Right.
It turns out they actually are deep every single time. Every single time this has happened. And I can think all the way back to like Street Fighter 4. When veterans were complaining about like
ultra
easier inputs and things like that, he had ultras and this game is dumb and but like, literally since I came into the FGC 12 years ago, it's been the same song and dance of every new game that comes out. People are gonna think it's not deep enough, and then 2 years later they eat their words. So I don't think there's much of a real con to making games a little bit more accessible, a little bit easier to get into. I don't think there's any real negative to it besides the 1,000 or so old fighting game heads that are going to complain for 6 months. Like, whatever. If I'm a developer, whatever.
Right.
We'll see in a year.
I mean,
which do I prefer more? I prefer Guilty Gear Strive and Dragon Ball and Grand Blue, because I don't have 9 hours to put into a video game every day anymore. I'm not 15.
yeah.
So games where I can focus more on my Oki and my neutral rather than execution, that's nothing but a plus for me. That's amazing.
It's always funny to me because execution is like the one thing that I feel like doesn't take up any time. I know I mentioned that last week, but that's just me. But yeah, no, I mean, I don't want to misquote David on this, and we'll have to make sure that I have this right. But I remember he one of his things that he always says is there's really no such thing as a simple fighting game, right? They're always going to be kind of complicated because fighting games are just hard. That's just the way they are. And, the way Guilty Gear Strive is, I mean, from even just seeing some of the stuff that we were learning, from Theory Fighters tutorials, and then seeing some of the shit that the top players were doing with the RC drift and the fast cancel. Like, honestly, I stick with what I said last week after we watched after we played the beta, that I think we're only 10% through of what we can do with RC drift. Because RC drift and fast cancel is just absolutely gross. I mean, these players were doing it like they've been doing it forever. Like Chip Samita was doing the overhead kick, fast cancel into jump kick to be able to get overhead combos and things like that. And so, they were already showcasing a lot. Goichi did one thing that was disgusting with Ramlethal. He threw a sword at Sonic Fox, and then he purple Roman canceled it and chased it. And then Sonic Fox had to block the sword, and you know how the sword hits the wall and then blows up after a while. But Goichi was dashing at them, so Sonic Fox stayed blocking. So Goichi dashed up, did dust, hit with the overhead, hit Sonic Fox into the sword explosion, and kept the combo going.
So didn't even get the launch from the dust, just connected with the dust.
Yep, exactly.
Nice.
And yeah, thank you for the follow. Big follow message. Roar.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Now my cat wants to bite.
But yeah, no, I mean, like we're only scratching the surface, in my opinion, of what is possible with this game. Oh God.
Thank you for the follow, Visceral. Thank you for the follow, Gamer Lewis.
I think we're going to leave this here because I think people like seeing this follow message. And I'll do that every time. I'll do my Mortal Kombat voice every time it shows up.
So don't do it.
We have two sets of notifications. David usually switches them, but I don't know how he does it. So we're stuck with David's classic
It's just on Twitch alerts, but yeah, I don't know what he does to do it either.
Okay. Oh man,
this is what we got for this week, guys.
Yep. But
anyways, where were you on that subject, James?
Yeah. So basically, look, there's no such thing as an easy fighting game. So this question, I kind of am in the same boat with you. Like, it's a weird question because accessibility is not the same thing necessarily as difficulty. Right. Yeah. So, I mean, I saw someone else mention in the chat, but it's always one of my premier examples is Melee. Right. Melee is super easy to get into. Like you can barely make a game more accessible than Melee. And then you play it at the highest level, and it is one of the most execution intensive fighting games in all of fighting. Like outside of MVC2, I don't know if there is a fighting game that's more execution intense. Like, those are the two that I always hold to the highest standard of execution level, MVC2 and Melee. Honestly, you can make games that are accessible. The key really is, can you come up with modes? Like one of the genius things that Melee did, that they didn't do intentionally, of course, was that they promoted the free-for-all mode with items and with, kill counts instead of stocks and stuff like that. And it was really about the players taking it and turning it into something more competitive with the hard rules, no items, final destination, meme and stuff like that. But, like, I think fighting games might actually want to look into doing stuff like that. Maybe spending the time making sure the main mode of the game isn't necessarily the competitive mode.
Nope. Man, I couldn't disagree more.
Yeah, I know.
Part of why I don't like. I don't want to say I don't like Smash. I like Smash. Part of what makes the competitive scene odd for me is they don't play the video game that was given to them.
Right.
They don't play the video game. They made their own video game within the video game, essentially. I like just playing what the devs give me.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to go and change a bunch of rules and time.
I don't think
I don't want to, that seems that's too much for me. I just want to play the game.
I don't even know if it necessarily needs to do that, but like literally there's just two modes, right? So there's a mode of the fighting game that you play that doesn't have any serious ranked. But if you actually want to play ranked, then you have to play the hardcore competitive version. Like, you don't have to change the rules. It's just one of the modes in there. It's just, I don't know. Like, for me, it's just, I think about this topic all the time because I want to figure out a way to make it so more people will play fighting games. And a large part of that, I feel like, is that, obviously we have people like you who are super competitive and just enjoy that grind and like beating up on other people. A lot of other people are coming off of work and they're tired and this is not their main thing. They just want to do something after they've put the kids to sleep and the wife is like, I'm going to go watch TV in my room. And they just want to sit down and be like, I've had a long day. I just need to play a fighting game. I like fighting games. And then you go on ranked and it's just like, and it's like stressful.
You can play unranked. Nobody's forcing you to play ranked. There's an unranked mode.
Yeah, but it's not quite the same, right? Because the game that's what I mean by promoting the other modes. Like, if it felt like there was just a casual mode in Street Fighter, but the problem is ranked is what everybody talks about and what everybody kind of focuses on. When you go on the network, ranked is the first option there, etc., etc., like... I just feel like that there should be a way that makes it feel a little less stakes are required, You
just move the cursor over and it says unranked, and then there's no stakes. I don't know, man. I don't like if the stakes are what bothers you, then play the version without the stakes. Right. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, even then, like, I don't know. There's just something about the way fighting games are. It feels like that's what they promote mainly.
Fighting games are competitive. That's what they are.
Yeah.
That's just how that is.
It's true.
I mean, sports games are the same, right? And like, they're not really considered like heavy esports at the moment. So they have ranked and they have unranked. Like, that's just all the cool stuff you can do with sports games. There's ranked and unranked still. So I don't know if it's just like fighting games that are the ones that are like that. I think anything that you have a score at the end is going to be like that, probably for a very long time.
Yeah, I guess the main point being is that I don't see accessible and difficulty as two separate things. In the second half of the follow-up question, which do you prefer, easy access or difficult? And like I said, I just don't think that there's a reason to have them be separated. I think you can do both of them at the exact same time. Grand Blue Fantasy Versus was a great example. I think that they did an awesome job with that. It's just the netcode kind of ruined that because, well, I'm sorry, I should say the pandemic ruined it, but that was exacerbated by the fact that there was no good way to play it online. I really honestly believe you can make a game that it's easy, accessible, that has a level of difficulty, and I actually think that's what people prefer the most. Because it gives them something to strive for, right? No pun intended.
No pun intended. Oh, come on. That was a good time for a pun. What are you doing, James?
But like, I think that's the right way to make a game, and the ways I mean, honestly, the way Strive is designed, it looks like it's simple. You get these cool counter hit messages, and you feel like a god when you Fafnir somebody in the face. But I think the game is going to get really complicated as time moves on, and I think that's a good thing. I think that is the right way to design a fighting game. Simple on the, minute to learn, lifetime to master, Othello kind of things. And Othello is not even that hard to master, honestly, so...
Well, I think we're mastering getting through these topics, James. What's next?
Do we want to take a break anywhere, or do you want to just screw it?
Man, let's just run it. Let's just run it for the people one time. We're doing it live.
All right. Let's just do it. Just no breaks, no breaks.
Let's just run it through all gas, no breaks.
All right. Well, in terms of game news, KOF15, we didn't get a chance to talk about it last week. Leona was revealed for KOF 15, and then that was 2 weeks ago, and then last week they outed Rolf and Clark revealed. They did another one of those dual character reveals, and honestly I felt like this last trailer was really cool, but I'm curious what your thoughts are first and foremost.
I actually have a positive thing to say about KOF 15.
Okay.
The metal slug stage is so sick. That is so cool. That stage is ridiculous.
Yeah.
The trailer was okay. I still get the vibes that they just kind of stuck an intern on editing who's never really done it before. There's moments in the trailer where the characters' mouths are moving and nothing is coming out. It's really weird for me to see. Ralph and Clark look cool. I mean, they actually looked, decently animated, and they didn't have many. I've noticed a trend. If a character has VFX, if they have a fireball or something like that, they're way uglier than if they don't in this game. I think the VFX are just really gross looking to me.
Okay.
So Ralph and Clark looked pretty much fine. I mean, I didn't really have anything bad to say. Like I said, the trailer was cut weird, but the Metal Slug stage made up for any qualms I may have had with that trailer. That stage was just so dope.
I mean, the coolest thing about this last trailer, though, it was cut uniquely because there were only 2 real clips, and it was just the 2 characters fighting, so we actually got to see more of the fighting action. We finally got to see some form of quick max cancel, where they would cancel a normal into, power up, but it looked like they had to manually dash to keep the combo going. But we hadn't seen that before. We hadn't seen anything like that before. Previously, we had seen the purple mechanic that looked like a new focus attack, right? It looked like the CD attack. And what did I call it again? Because it's armored and the CD attacks are called blowbacks, I called it an armored blowback CD. So it's the ABCD right now. That's what I'm calling it. Because I just didn't want to call it focus attack all the time, because I just think that kind of sucks, just calling it the focus attack. So I
chose... attack.
What's that?
It's a Blocus attack.
A Blocus
Blocus attack. It's the Blocus attack.
The Blocus attack. Okay. No, I'm gonna stick with the ABCD for now. But
does it bother you? Someone who's been streaming the YouTube stuff and all that and following the game. Does it bother you that they're 20 characters deep and we have gotten no word of mechanics? We've gotten no view of the UI. We have no idea how the characters select screen. That bothers me. I'm not even necessarily looking forward to the game or not, but it bothers me that SNK has been silent. They keep putting out these 2 to 5 minute trailers, which is fine. It's cool they're putting this out weekly, but that just means there's 17 weeks of trailers that we've gotten no information about the game. That worries me, man, that they've shown nothing. They've shown nothing and talked about nothing.
Look,
I'm still waiting for my expectations to be shattered.
Look, all I'm going to say is, I would like to see some mechanic stuff. Now, they've been revealing stuff. Every new trailer, they seem to reveal one new thing. Obviously not always a big thing. 1 week it was, there are taunts in the game. Another week, look, there's the roll. We finally saw the roll. And but they keep adding little things. So like when they did show the Blocus attack, the ABCD, when they actually did show that, and then this one they finally showed something like a max cancel, really lending us to believe that there are, like me and Olaf talk about this all the time, we really do feel like that there are two grooves to pick, like an advanced and EX mode. Like
I just wish they would say something, man. Like the game got announced 3 years ago and we just don't know anything. It just feel like Capcom used to be really bad about this stuff too, but even Capcom at their worst was better with communication. Right. I mean, obviously they're great now, but
look, the way to know is, to be fair, Olaf was like, I really want them to put out a mechanics trailer, please. So,
yeah, for the love of God, and show us a meter or two, man. Right. Now, I want to see a health bar or a super meter, anything.
Right. The interesting thing, though, is that, digital E3 is coming around the corner, and so is the time at which EVO was supposed to be. And usually there's always some crazy announcements coming out soon around that time. So for me, I'm gonna hold my breath and wait till a little bit deeper into summer before we finally can actually get any of that kind of stuff.
I mean, E3 is in what, like 2 weeks?
Is it in 2 weeks? Oh yeah,
it's in like 2 weeks, man.
I think you're right. 2 or 3,
like the 11th or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's around there, so it's coming.
Right. But the other thing, too, is, they've shown 20 characters or whatever like that, but the crazy thing is, that really honestly makes me believe this game is going to launch with like 50-some characters, which I think will be super cool, so... Because, I mean, the last game launched with 50 characters, and so I think that there's a good chance that this game might just... Here you go, is a crap ton of characters, so...
I mean, a lot of them have looked like, kind of copy pasted. So
yeah,
I hope so. I hope so. If that's their plan of reusing a lot of KOF14, assets, which is totally fine. Don't make me out to sound like a bad guy for saying that. I think reuse of assets is a smart video game development thing to do. They should do that. But if they're going to do that, then yeah, I hope there's a lot of characters.
It's weird because it's definitely hit or miss. Because I understand where everybody's coming from with King. But then I thought like Ryo and Robert and Ralph and Clark and Leona and Mai, like they all look really good, even though they're reused assets from the previous, So it's weird that like it just feels like some characters got love. Maybe the King trailer was made a long time ago and she looks better right now. I don't know. It's like, it's really weird, but for sure it feels like some characters got a lot more love. Like Andy, for example, because Andy was the meme in 14, right?
Yeah, Andy did get a lot of love.
Yeah, so... Yeah,
they really miss an opportunity not giving Ryo his old stance, I think.
Oh,
yeah, I think he should have had that.
I missed that stance.
Especially with Dan being in Street Fighter V. I think they should have had him with his original stance. That would have been cool.
That would have been cool. I would have liked that too. But beyond that, they also announced, we'll talk about it again because I can't remember if we talked about it, but they did announce Samurai Showdown coming out on Steam, finally, after way too late, and honestly, I just don't know if I care at this point. Because if it doesn't come out with a package bundle, you have to pay $120 for the whole game on Steam.
Sure will.
Like... Everybody who
for a 2-year-old game with no update to the netcode or the lobbies,
right? And for people who did go and buy it on the Epic Game Store, it's just like it's too little, too late, man. It just it's frustrating.
Sure is.
But I mean, for those people who haven't played it ever and were like, I won't play it because it's not on Steam, I mean, here's your chance. But again, if it's like $120, then it's not, I don't know. Like, it's hard for me to say, yeah, you should give it a shot,
Dream cancel. I don't live in California. I've been green screened since I started on here in October.
Yep. And even though David lives in SoCal, he's been green screened as well, and in fact, we're probably going to stick with that in the future. It's not fair to make David drive all the way from Hollywood to here every week.
Listen here, James Chen. In a few months, I'm coming out to visit David, and we're doing an in-person Tuesday show.
Oh right? Yeah, okay. If that's the case, 100%, absolutely, yes.
No,
Absolutely.
that is the game plan.
Oh, okay. I had no idea. Then yeah.
David said I can come visit, so I'm just gonna make it on like through a Tuesday so we can do the show in person. I think it'd be fun.
No, trust me. There's ways to live in Hollywood and not be loaded. Trust me. Trust me. Hollywood, the thing about it is, like, if you've never actually been to Hollywood, Hollywood's
I've been
actually,
there. I've seen it.
it's kind of a dump, okay? Hollywood is not the greatest
James said
place.
it, not me.
What's that?
That you said it, not me.
Yeah, Hollywood is kind of a dump. If you've actually ever been there, that's why all the studios are not actually in Hollywood. That's why all the studios are in Burbank, because Hollywood is kind of a dump. It's not. They've made it nicer. Like seriously, 10 years ago, maybe even 15 years ago, like Hollywood was like you go there at night and you are scared you're gonna get mugged. Like it's like that basically. It's not the greatest place. So I mean, love thy Cyblade. If it's your hometown, you know. You know. But yeah, moving on here, Ryu and Chun have come out in Power Rangers Battle for the Grid today. And we've seen the trailers. Chun-Li, I mean, I think Shady K just had a blast designing this character, trying to put as much UMVC3 and TVC and all this stuff into her as possible, because she looks absolutely insane. I've already seen a one-touch death combo for her put on Twitter already, and she's doing OTD.
I mean, that's just par for the course for Battle for the Grid, though. Like, if you can't one touch, you're probably not a viable character, right?
It's true. It's true.
But both Ryu and Chun look really good. I don't play the game competitively, but it seemed like all the players were already in love with both of them, so that's really cool.
Yeah. So shout outs to them. I mean, that's another one of those like fighting games that could, you know what I mean? It's just like
it's pushing through,
keeping creating content, and it's rollback netcode, right? So you know. We don't talk about that game enough, it feels like sometimes. Probably not giving it enough credit, to be honest with you, with how much it actually does. Because I remember when the game first came out, it felt like an indie game, you know, but it has grown a lot since then. So
I mean, when the game first came out, if you blocked a jumping attack, you couldn't block a crouching attack or a low attack after.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, it was a bug that was in the game for like 3 weeks, I want to say, after release. Like, it was there for a long time.
Oh, man.
But they've fixed it, and they've improved the game drastically over the years. So yeah, big ups to them, man. A lot of people really love that game, and it has pretty good netcode. So
yeah, and people in the chat, Gibby saying it has crossplay. Cyril the Hero says that it has good lobbies. So yeah,
I mean they're doing all the stuff the fighting game players ask for. So
yeah.
If you guys haven't tried the game and you like Versus Styles game, you should definitely give it a try. And it's not expensive. It's like a $15, $20 game for the base.
And if you like broken games, I mean, that's definitely one of the vampire savior school of thought of everybody's kind of busted. Go have fun.
Yeah. For sure.
VF5 Esports. I didn't see the trailer. Did you actually watch that trailer that they came out? It's an announcement. It's an announcement of an announcement or something like that.
The Virtual Fighter. No, it's not. It's a full announcement.
Oh, was it
Virtual Fighter 5? An updated version of Virtual Fighter 5 is hitting PS4 on June 1st.
Okay. Okay.
The rumor right now is that if you're a PS Plus subscriber, you get it for free. It's one of the games of the month.
Really?
Yeah, it's one of the games of the month, like on release. So a lot of games have been doing this to gather more players. For example, like Rocket Arena did it when it came out. Rocket League did that when it came out. It was free to get if you got it within X amount of time. So hopefully this gathers more new players for a very old fighting game. But it's been graphically updated, so I would imagine it'll look nice. What I'm concerned is, did they update the netcode? Is it rollback? They didn't mention it at all. So if it's not rollback, if the netcode sucks, that game is going to flounder because it's already a really hard game.
Right. I'm trying to see right now if I can find the actual trailer because...
you just pass it up, James.
What's that?
Scroll up. You just pass it up.
There's this
right there.
Oh, I see that. I just totally missed the link. I thought it was a picture, not a trailer, but here you go. Yeah, I guess I can put this on the stream really quick for people to watch.
Throw it up.
Yeah, let's actually do this over real quick. Because like I said, I haven't had a chance to see this yet, so let's see what this looks like. All right.
People tell me that if I just spoke more softly, others may
an
find
ad,
it easier
sorry.
to forgive me. I condemn you! Freeze to the core!
Oh, I'm clicking on the wrong thing.
Eye for an eye!
Sorry. Ad. There we go. All right, let's take a look at this. Trailblazing 3D fighter returns.
Go time, baby.
I don't know what trailer blazing now. This game is like 24 years old.
It does look maybe a little better than before, or I'm not
They
sure.
remade it, yeah. They completely remade it.
Ready?
Like, I feel like the models are better than they were before. I love some of the moves in this game, man.
Virtual Fighter is dope to watch.
Yeah.
I would never want to play competitively. You want to talk about not accessible games? Here's one.
That's so pretty.
Yeah, the animations are incredible. Even, you know, like seriously, like 15 years later, I think the game is that old now. What, 2006 it came out, I think?
Yeah, I was always one of the people that used to believe that, you know, I always thought Virtua Fighter was way better looking than Tekken because, one, not only I thought the animations were better, but I also just liked the fact that the game was bright. Tekken had that reputation of having nothing but these black stages and stuff like that and just like kind of dark. But, I mean, obviously that's just not the case anymore because Tekken 7 is a goddamn beautiful game.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is. I mean, like, is it going to be rebalanced? Is it going to have rollback?
I don't think so. I think it's just Final Showdown, and that's that. But they haven't mentioned the netcode. So
yeah, it says.
You'd think that if it had like redone netcode that they would mention it, but they didn't.
According to this article on IGN, it says it will include new background music for every stage, a new user interface, a new opening cinematic, and new lighting and shaders. In addition to updated graphics and background music, it will allow players to spectate online matches in real time and will include the ability to build round-robin style online tournaments. The private and public lobby system will support up to 16 players and will include new communication tools like stamps. So there you go.
Cool, but what about the netcode?
They haven't said anything about the netcode.
Exactly. So,
but
you
I
know.
do think their official site has like some clock countdown that's still going down right now. Oh, yeah, we did a first attack for VF5 Showdown a long time ago. It wasn't our first attack. It was definitely Gerald's, L.A. Akira's. He was the one teaching everybody how to play that game. That was the first time I ever learned about turns, by the way, was when Gerald was teaching us Virtua Fighter 5, because you've never had to deal with turns in 2D games before. That was never anything that you had to care about. So honestly, if it wasn't for that and me learning Tekken, Street Fighter 5 would probably still be a mystery to me right now.
I mean, you had to definitely take your turn in Street Fighter 4.
Kind of.
Frame data mattered.
Yeah, no, because you could always backdash. And you could always count on people messing up, and you could always uppercut FADC, right? If I'm Cammy and I'm like block something, I just uppercutted. Like, you don't have to respect the turns in those games, you know. It's a little different, but don't need to get into that debate here. We've definitely run over time on this one. I didn't think we would talk about this one for that long, but let's keep going. A new fighting game. Let me add some time to the clock over here just so we can keep talking about this. But a new fighting game was announced called Blazing Strike. Now, this is a game that had a Kickstarter a long time ago and did not succeed. But I guess Axis is picking it up now. and it's a brand new 2D fighting game, sprite based, with basically trying to pay homage to like CVS2 looks and stuff like that. So it's a new game to look out for. I know a lot of people out there still love the 2D sprite work. They still want to see more fighting games in 2D sprite work. So if that's something that interests you, check out Blazing Strike. Look that up on. Let me see if they have like an official just Blazing.
If they did, I didn't find it.
Blazing Strike Twitter. No, I can't find it. In any case, that one has announced that they have GGPO in the game. So they have officially announced that they have GGPO in that game. So even more reasons to check that out. Melted Blood.
If it plays like CVS too, then I'll be in there.
Yeah. I don't know how similar. Like, I don't know if it's going to be grooves and stuff like that. But again, the 2D sprite animation looks really sick so far. It looks pretty nice. And then
I only saw the one still screenshot, so I have no idea.
And then Them's Fighting Herds also got a patch, and this surprised me, because if you had told me the game was 720p natively before, I wouldn't have believed you, because it's a beautiful looking game. But apparently it's a 720p game, and they've upgraded in this patch to be full true 1080p. So it's not like scaled up sprite work. Now the sprite is natively 1080p. So the game is going to be a lot more, it's going to be even better looking. There's a few patch like balance changes and stuff like that, but the major thing is that this is now supporting 1080p directly, and I think that's really cool. So shout outs to them doing good stuff for the community as well. So in terms of community news, let's move on to that. They've announced the Tekken Online Challenge. So for a few days, Bandai Namco was tweeting out a video that would go 3, and everyone's like, Tekken Tag 3, and then the next day it was 2, and everyone's like, oh, it's a countdown, and then 1, and then they announced their new plans for what they're doing this year for Tekken World Tour, and it is the Tekken Online Challenge. It's going to start on June 1st, and it's going to include over $100,000 in prize pool pot bonuses for all the events. So during the course of playing the Tekken Online Challenge, there is $100,000 plus to be given out. They're starting with dojo events like they did last year. Dojo events, of course, are locals that you register into the Tekken Online Challenge. There will be master events starting in August, which I'm guessing are going to be like major online events like the CPT stuff. And there's going to be regional finals. And so you can check that out. There's a trailer for that coming out there. And they just had a patch too, right? I think Tekken just had a patch. Was it like today, or is it one? Or if there's like
Did they?
I remember seeing some.
I didn't see anybody talking about it, but I don't follow a lot of Tekken players either.
Not out yet. Okay, it's not out yet, but they definitely said that they were going to do a patch, and a lot of people are thinking maybe Lydia might get nerfed or something like that. We'll see what happens, but yeah, Tekken is starting up again. So if that is something that you're interested in as a player, keep an eye out for more Tekken Online Challenge stuff. Organize some locals. Get into those dojo events, man. I think that's really, really cool. Again,
the dojo stuff is really dope.
Yeah. Also, we were talking about it last week. We reported that Daigo had COVID and that he was in the hospital and that he was being taken care of and stuff. Well, the good news is Daigo is out of the hospital. He is okay now. Unfortunately, he had to celebrate his 40th birthday in the hospital. But a bunch of players recorded messages for him, wishing him well and everything.
I saw that. That was cute.
Yeah, and he is officially out of the hospital now, and he is doing much better. So, good stuff to Daigo. Oh, apparently, according to Forrest, he even streamed Him and Peter said that he even streamed earlier today or yesterday, so that's really, really cool. So
I did read that he also said that COVID was like hell. So
yeah. Ugh.
that sucks. That sucks, man. I really hope Japan gets their shit together with vaccinations.
Yeah.
I really hope they do.
It's crazy too.
Can you imagine, like, if we lost Daigo to COVID, dude?
Oh, dude, knock on wood, dude. I don't even want to
I mean, he's fine now. He's good now. He's fine.
Yeah, I just don't even
Can
want to.
you imagine, like...
I don't even want to think about it, dude. I don't even want to think about it.
Fix your shit, Japan. You have the infrastructure. You can do it. Just fucking do it already.
It's just crazy to me because they had been doing pretty well for a while. Like, they just opened up too soon, right? I mean,
they just don't have a good infrastructure for vaccinations right now.
Right, yeah.
It's extremely hard to get one out there, and they're not being progressive on getting vaccinations to their citizens.
I mean, yeah, you mentioned it last week. Look what Majin Obama had to do, right? So,
and now he has to fly back in 3 weeks to get his second dose.
Yeah, exactly. So,
like, that sucks, man. It sucks. I hope they get their shit together. I really do.
Yeah. And then, of course, a little bit of bad news here. This is unfortunate. I wasn't even fully abreast of the situation until I talked to you a little bit earlier. But the MKX Twitch Rivals was postponed. And I wasn't sure why. But apparently the reason why was because players were getting DDoS'd during the tournament and doxxed as well.
Yeah. They're from what I understand is they weren't sure how this person was getting the information to throw into the chat, but whoever it was doxing players, giving out their full names and addresses and things like that. What probably happened, I talked to some IT friends of mine that are knowledgeable about this stuff and how you get that information. They believe that, like, the most logical thing that would have happened is this person played, like, ranked matches against these players at some point and took note of, they used a program to get their IP address, took note of their IP address, looked up their information, and then when Twitch Rivals happened, started spewing stuff into the chat. Like, that's the most logical way they could have got that information, right? So they don't think it was like a direct attack on Max and the commentators and the players right then and there, but they do think that maybe they got that information previously and then decided to try to ruin Twitch Rivals with it.
Why? I mean, unless you're
Because
like
people suck. I don't know, man.
Right? That's just really what it comes down to. Is just people suck. But like, if it wasn't that, like, is it just like some MK11 fan that's like, yeah, you should be running?
They have no idea. I mean, people just do that stuff because they think it's funny, you know.
Right.
Like, it could certainly happen to any you, me, or David on here at one point. Yeah. I mean, people just like to be mean.
I mean, Smelly
that's
Beetle,
all there is to it. So.
Smelly Beetle. I think I just want an excuse to read his name all the time, but he's right. Some people just want to see the world burn, dude. Like, it's just the way it works, right? So
they have rescheduled top 8.
Okay.
I don't have any inside information on this, guys. I'm just assuming they did announce they rescheduled top 8. I would imagine they're going to make those players play top 8 off stream, since they're going to pre-record those matches and then have the commentators live commentate it. That's what I would imagine they do, just to avoid issues. You know, like that's what I would imagine. I don't know if that's what Twitch is going to do, but I'm assuming that that's what they're going to do, is maybe pre-record the matches and let the commentators commentate them live and obviously not spoil anything.
Right. Yeah.
Go from there. But yeah, I hope nothing too terrible came from that. And I look forward to watching top 8 when it can happen. I mean, whenever Twitch gets to do it now, because
that sucks.
That sucks.
I'm so sad that this stuff is happening, man. I mean, it's just like, obviously it's not just FGC. This can happen to anyone, anywhere, you know, and it's just like, you know, it's so crazy out there because, you know, we always, like, code of conducts are always just don't be a jerk, like, in the end. And it's just crazy how much everybody wants to be a jerk. Honestly, it's crazy. So some unknown person sent Rewind a pizza to his home address. Yeah,
and they also put his home address in Twitch chat.
God, that's
so it could have been someone else that sent Rewind a pizza.
Right.
You know,
it could have been anybody.
It could have even just been somebody who got the address from Twitch.
Right.
Because there's 20,000 plus people watching. So yeah, that's super creepy though, man. Someone does that to you, and that's rough.
I mean, I've definitely heard stories. You know, I think it was like Gutex telling the story of like just a fan like standing outside his house or some crazy shit like that. You know, it's like
yeah.
It's creepy.
Yeah, people are weird.
Yeah. But
so, be careful out there, guys.
Yeah.
Part of the problem with fighting games, though, like being a fighting game streamer and content creators, we can't use VPNs. The way fighting games all work is head-to-head connection.
Right.
So if you use a VPN, you're connecting to the VPN, your opponent's connecting to the VPN, now you have a huge disadvantage going between you and the VPN.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So you can't even really use VPNs if you play fighting games, and that's rough. That sucks for us, man.
No, I mean, I guarantee you, Shay, that whole thing has got to be deleted. There's no way Twitch will have left that VOD viewable. You know, there's just not much.
Well, I mean, the VOD is probably viewable, but not the chat.
Right, exactly. So, any case, unfortunate. Hope everything works out for them, and let's just don't be a jerk out there, man. Let's try to be better.
Pretty much.
All right, so tournament results. CPT South America was this past weekend. I didn't get a chance to see a lot of it. I wish I could, but I was doing the Red Bull stuff, and I know that led into the CPT stuff, but I was usually so tired that I just couldn't actually stay up and watch a lot of it. I would have liked to have watched it because I was really super happy to hear that they flew Marine out there for the commentary.
Yeah, I was going to say big ups to my good friend, Marine.
Yeah. I was
super
sad
proud
because
of her.
I was originally scheduled to do commentary with her. They didn't tell me why they switched me with Jeremy, but, you know, probably
because you just did last week, right?
Well, so did Jeremy.
Oh, well, shit.
I think it was mostly because Maureen probably sent them a message and was like, James guy's kind of weird and creepy. Can I switch the commentary with somebody else?
To be fair to you, James, I don't think she did that, but to be fair, Jeremy and Maureen are actually friends, like, outside of commentary and stuff.
Yeah.
So if maybe that was Capcom's reasoning, is they knew that they were pals, because whatever.
No,
but
honestly,
whatever.
though.
I mean, I think they did great. I enjoyed watching. I didn't get to watch a ton, but I enjoyed what I got to watch.
No, honestly, though, Jeremy has done every week. It's always Jeremy and somebody else. I'm suspecting Jeremy probably couldn't do it at first, but then he managed to free himself up and now does it. So that's just all it is. So, yeah. But I just want to, you know, in case she's ever watching this, you know, I just want to let her know I'm not as creepy as I actually am. I appear.
Wait, what? You're as creepy as you actually are, James?
Yeah, I'm not as creepy as I actually am.
What does that mean?
I mean, appear. I mean, dang it. All right, thanks, guys, for watching. Oh, man. But no, it was really cool. It was won by a boxer player. It was won by... where is it here? Where do I have this here? It was won by, oh God, I don't have the name here ready to go. Sorry, that's my bad. It was won by Nero the Boxer. Nero the Boxer with Boxer. So congratulations to him. And, you know, obviously we've had 3 out of 4 camis. There was not a cami in this top 8. There was one in top 16, but there was none in top 8. Picaro ended up with 4th place with M. Bison. Urian was a 3rd place player in Self Cool. And then Frozen was in 2nd place with Kage and Nash. So that would have had the patches with the update. So I wonder if that buffed helped, you know, him do well with Nash.
I'm sure it did.
Yeah, maybe he did.
Nash is pretty good now, man.
He might have done 10,000 Sobats during that tournament, right? So.
Yeah, exactly. Still not enough.
Oh, man.
Yeah, no, I did get to watch finals. Finals is cool. It was a good match.
Okay, cool.
And I don't have much to add to behind that, but it was good. If you guys want to watch the replay, it's worth watching.
Cool. Yeah, I might have to go back and watch it, but I swear it's hard for me to find times to go back watch those archives. I still haven't even finished watching the Soul Calibur Wii Play stuff, which makes me really sad. So
that was like 3 months ago, 6 months ago already.
Thanks for subbing, Nash crap.
there you go. Still keep doing that here. CPT this past weekend was Kiss His Fingers. Frost's Nash was Kissing Fingertips. That's what he's basically saying. So there you go. And apparently he's a Nash fan, right? So there you go. If his name is Nash Crap, I'm just going to make the assumption. Also this past weekend, which I thought was super cool, was a Guilty Gear XX Accent Core Plus R 25 versus 25. US versus Japan.
Thank you for subbing, Spitting Bird Kicks. Dun, dun, dun.
So, but yeah, there was a 25 versus 25 Japan versus America tournament. And that was basically one game. Oh, actually, was it 2 out of 3? I can't know. I think it was just one game. And if they lost, they were out, basically. And you got to imagine, you know, Japan versus US and Guilty Gear Accent Core Plus R, that it was going to be pretty much a strong Japanese domination of like, you know, 25 to 12, 25. The thing ended at 25 to 23.
Nice.
And not
Well
only
done.
that, but one of the Japanese players had to DQ themselves because they couldn't make it anymore. So technically, if you count that as a DQ, it was 25 to 24 and came down to the very last game. Now, the last player on Japan's side was a Testament player who is just, Testament is apparently super good in Plus R. And Elvin Shadow was the last American player, and the very last round was a perfect in favor of the Testament player, because Elvin Shadow got locked down by Barneys and Crows and stuff like that, and it was disgusting. But the tournament was amazing, and shout outs to, I think his name was Skeletons, but like his ABBA on the US, the US was
Skeletal Minion?
Yeah, exactly. Skeletal Minion. They were down like 14 to like 4 or 14 to 5, and he brought it all the way back to like 14 to 12 or 14 to 13 before he finally lost. And thanks to him, they had caught up because there was a Japanese Soul player that took out a bunch of strong players like Kizzy and stuff, and he just ran through everybody early on, and then Skeletal Minion brought it back, and it was a really, really awesome event. A lot of fun to watch. So shout outs to them for being able to organize a 25 v 25, 50 players for this exhibition, and to have it come down and be so close, I think is really, really awesome, dude. Really cool.
Yeah, that's cool. I didn't even know that was happening. So
Yeah, I didn't even know it was happening until I saw Arturo tweeting about it, and I was like, oh damn. I came in just in time to start watching Skeletal Minion's run. I didn't see the Japanese Soul run, but I came in and I just started watching ABBA destroy everybody. I mean, ABBA is such a, like, you know Hakan and the way his oil works? That's like ABBA to the nth degree, because she's just like garbage as a character until she powers up, then she's good, and then she activates her install super, and then she's just like the most broken thing in the entire game. But the problem is, if it runs out and you're not careful, every time you get knocked down, your meter drains.
Thanks for the follow, Helm. Dun, dun, dun.
But if she gets knocked down, she loses a big chunk, and she gets up and has to do this animation. And actually, if you can knock her down and know that happens, you can Roman cancel your move, activate instant kill, and kill her. Like, you get the free kill. And so as the ABBA player, you have to be so careful to make sure that doesn't happen. So good job to Skeletal Minion having that streak and never having that happen to him. Yes, obviously you don't have to RC, but if you have a big long move that knocks down, you want to RC it. Some people can just sweep and kill you basically straight up. So there you go.
And then the Smash World Tour.
Yeah, so there was a Smash World Tour for North America East, I think it was. Let me get over here. North America Northeast. And it was won by TSM Tweak, largely with Diddy Kong. But apparently, I'm not sure how the qualifications rules work. Maybe they've already qualified, but the top 3 players had already qualified. And so 4th place was a Lucario from Canada named Armadillo. And from what the stuff that I was reading about it, it sounds like it's, again, one of those situations where Lucario is not exactly the easiest character to win with. I don't know exactly how the tiers work, but it sounds like, top 6 qualify. Okay, gotcha. But it sounds like the Lucario player actually did really, really well with that character, and so that's really cool to hear as well. If anybody else has any additional information about that, please let me know in the chat, because again, I know we don't cover Smash as much. None of us are Smash experts, and so if anybody in the chat has any more stories about the players or any particular thing about that event worth noting, let us know in the chat. And then for upcoming events, Combo Breaker presents Look Alive is coming up this weekend. If you guys haven't gotten a lot of information about this, basically Rick, actually let me just put the stuff up on, let me put the thing up on the stream actually.
I think they're tweeting out the official schedule tomorrow.
Okay, gotcha. But if you actually look at this over here, let's do this here. Add source, screen capture, smart selection. Here you go. Combo Breaker Look Alive. And shout outs to this artwork. Combo Breaker guys always get some sick artwork for their stuff over here. No Coast, No Kings, of course, as you can see here, Midwest. But what this is it's going to be an event. And I mean, you can't read these all on your screen right here, because it's all like zoomed out and stuff. Oh God, I hate the way when you try to zoom in on Facebook, it just resizes everything for you.
Well, let me tell you, James, this is actually Twitter, so.
You're right. Sorry, Twitter. My bad. But
you boomers love Facebook.
I actually don't really like Facebook, but
I hate Facebook.
Here you go. Let's do this. Boof. There we go. So there you go. Here's the Look Alive stuff. Basically what this is, in the words of Rick himself, let me do this here as well. Let me go back over here. Rick says, we're mashing up money matches, documentaries, scratch routines, combo videos, skits, interviews, merch drops, live event announcements, and more to show love for everyone's efforts these past 2 years and start tuning up for the years ahead. All in together, no coast, no kings. So it's going to be a 2-day showcase, as you can see over here, on May 29th and May 30th. That's this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. So that'll be happening over here. What did this say over here? Yeah. And like this is in collaboration with Next Level, Vampire Arcadia, Wednesday Night Fights, TMC 3v3, Garage Gear. I mean, look at all the people involved in this whole entire thing. These are all different groups. You see Climax of Night listed there, Combat Club, Main 6. You see DreamHack Community Clash. God, there's just so many groups involved in this, and it's really cool. And with additional content by Sayjam, Hold Back to Block, Majin Obama, JM Crofts, Jeopardy, etc., etc. So there's a ton of people involved in this event, and this is going to be something that's really, really cool.
Yeah, and I've heard a rumor that that date is not accurate anymore. There might be an extra day. I've heard a rumor.
What you
So
mean?
there might be a whole extra day of content.
It might turn into a 3-day thing.
I've heard a rumor, James.
Okay.
It might be a little bit longer than anticipated. But I believe that they're announcing everything officially tomorrow. So keep a lookout for Rick's Twitter and Combo Breaker's Twitter.
I mean, who would complain about having more awesome fighting game content?
Probably the people running the stuff, because that's a lot of hard work. But for the fans, literally no one.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I know a lot of guys have been putting in a ton of work into this thing. Like, I know, for example, like Callisto's been doing a lot of the recording for it, and my God, that guy has just been putting in so many hours trying to get all this stuff together. A whole bunch of guys are doing this, and so shout outs to all the people that have helped collaborate and make this a thing. Pretty sure that, like, for example, he mentioned combo videos. Pretty sure the 2-hit combo video is going to be shown during some course at some point during the weekend and things like that. So if you guys want to see what I used to do before commentary, you can check that out. But that's coming up. And then, of course, this weekend is CPT Brazil #1, and it's really cool that they separated Brazil into its own category, because honestly, Brazil is always such a strong region, and so for them to actually have it separated is going to be cool. I will be doing commentary for that this weekend, so I will not be doing a beginner restream, because I will be doing the
that's how they took you off this week. They didn't want to have you on 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, exactly. But there you go. So that's coming up as well.
Cool. Mr. G in the chat did mention Hold Back to Block is going to be doing a new KI documentary, I believe, about the music.
Yeah.
So that'll be cool if you guys are into fighting game music and or Killer Instinct. Look out for that. I don't know when it's releasing, but I do know that they at least announced that they are going to go ahead and do that.
Right. Probably going to preview that during the Look Alive, right? I would imagine so.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. I have no idea. I honestly have no idea what's on the slate for Look Alive besides what I did commentary for.
Right. Okay. Cool. Outside of that, not much else to report here in terms of fighting game stuff. I did want to talk about this before. Just a crazy announcement in the Tetris world. Remember, we talked about the whole rolling technique that they discovered?
Yeah.
So the first person to actually get good at this, hitting the back of the controller to actually move the pieces faster than normal, Cheesefish, the person who really first started getting good at that, has become the first player ever to reach level 40 in Tetris, in NES Tetris. Keep in mind that level 29 has always been called the kill screen, because basically nobody could get past level 29. And then once we started getting to the crazy hyper tappers, we would get to level 30, 32, 33. Whoa! Like, if you could get to level 33, it was crazy. This guy got to level 40, and I watched the footage, and it just looks like he's playing modern Tetris, because he's not limited by where he can put the pieces anymore. He can move them wherever the hell he wants them to go, and so he's just playing Tetris, and it is fascinating. And it's like, I'm wondering if I want to sit here and learn it, because I'm too old to learn hyper tapping, and but anyone can do the rolling technique. So it's like, maybe this is what I need to learn to try to get to the point that I can max out in Tetris. Maybe this will be the key for me.
That's the future. James Chen, the 50-year-old Tetris champion.
Yeah. I mean,
5-6 years from now.
The thing that actually kind of excites me about this, and I mentioned it on Twitter, so the reason why we never allowed for other controllers on NES Tetris and Classic Tetris World Championship competitions is because we know that if you had a hitbox that you could roll your fingers on like this, it would be such a distinct advantage over the other controllers, right? And I was always like, you should just let people play with whatever they want, right? But I understand, there's a lot of history and stuff and things like that. But now we've developed a technique that has kind of just blown the doors wide open. If you can roll and accomplish the same on a NES pad and can accomplish the same things that you could on a hitbox or something like that, maybe it's time to throw off the shackles. Maybe it's time to just say you can do it however you want, as long as the controller only has one left and one right, so you can't do this with two buttons, you know, kind of thing.
Right.
But if maybe it's time, honestly, maybe this is the moment that we should just say, look, instead of forcing everybody to learn rolling on a NES pad, now let's just open it up to every controller, let anybody play however they want, so that as long as there's no turbo or no ways to cheat on it, so that way we don't have to learn something on an old controller, which we could go and do, which will give us the same result if you just let us use the hitbox kind of thing. So a lot of questions to be asked and talk about it and stuff like that, and it's really interesting. It's crazy that this many years later, the only part that obviously hurts me the most is that Jonas isn't around to see that we've gotten to this point, that we've gotten to a level 40, because that, like, for him, that would have just blown his mind, dude. And it's just like, it makes me sad that he's not around to be able to see something like that. But I think this is it's very interesting to see how competition just blows everything out of the water, basically. And yeah, Naughty Senpai, unfortunately Jonas passed away earlier this year. Freak occurrence, nobody still knows exactly what happened. It was perfectly healthy and just passed out, basically, and that's what it is. So, and that happened, so it's unfortunate.
Yep,
yeah,
it sucks.
But
hug your loved ones.
There you go. So that is all I have, unless you have anything extra to talk about at this point.
Not right now, I don't. I think it's time to burn them, James.
Yeah, so it's going to be a shorter episode today. As we mentioned, we had a guest. Unfortunately, they weren't able to make it. So obviously the show is going to be a little bit shorter. So apologies for that, but hope you guys enjoyed the show anyway. And once again, if you're on YouTube, give us a like, give us a follow as well. This is something we don't say enough, but please definitely do that. Give us a like and follow.
Thanks for the fellow victorious. Dun, dun, dun.
And so really appreciate that. Like and follow, and then subscribe.
And we'll do better next week with the 5-5 stuff.
Yeah,
and the Twitch alerts and having a guest. Well, freak occurrence happened this week, but hopefully have a guest and all that stuff next week. So
and
sorry about the short show this week, everyone.
Yeah, and then also, of course, if you're watching here on Twitch, subscriptions, donations, gift subs, all those things, very much appreciated. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you next week for another Tuesday show. Have a good one, and peace out.
Later, guys.
Can you hear the birds?
I can't, but that's okay.
You can't hear the birds. Now you should be able to hear the birds.
Now I can hear.
Now you can hear the birds. Who doesn't want to hear the birds?